Sea-Hoardings by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. Sea-Hoardings. My heart is open again and sea flows in. It shall fill with a summer of mist and winds and clouds and waves breaking, of gull wings over the green tide, of the surf's drenching din, of sudden horizon sails that come and vanish phantom thin, of arching sapphire skies, deep and unaching. I shall lie on the rocks just over the weeds that drape the clear sea pools, where birth and death and sunny ooze are teeming, where the crab in quest of booty sidles about to sullen shape, where the snail creeps and the mussel sleeps with wary valves agape, where life is too grotesque to be but seeming. And the swallow shall weave my dreams with threads of flight, a shuttle with silver breast across the warp of the waves gliding, and an isle far out shall be a beam in the loom of my delight, and the pattern of every dream shall be a rapture bathed in light, its evanescence a beauty most abiding. And the sunsets shall give sadness all its due, they shall stain the sands and trouble the tides with all the ache of sorrow. They shall bleed and die with a beauty of meaning old, yet ever new. They shall burn with all the hunger for things that hearts have failed to do. They shall whisper of a gold that none can borrow. And the stars shall come and build a bridge of fire for the moon to cross the boundless sea with never a fear of sinking. They shall teach me of the magic things of life never to tire, and how to renew, when it is low, the lamp of my desire, and how to hope in the darkest deeps of thinking. End a poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Shore's Song to the Sea by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. The Shore's Song to the Sea. Out on the rocks primeval, the gray Maine rocks that slant and break to the sea, with the bay and juniper round them, and the leagues on leagues before them, and the terns and gulls wheeling and crying over, I sat heart still and listened. And first I could only hear the wind in my ears, and the foam trying to fill the high rock shallows. And then, over the wind, over the whitely blossoming foam, low, low like a lover's song beginning, I heard the nuptial pleading of the old shore, a pleading ever occultly growing louder. O sea, glad bride of me, born of the bright ether and given to wed me, given to glance ever for me and gleam and dance in the sun, come to my arms, come to my reaching arms, that seem so still and unavailing to take you and hold you, yet never forget, never by day or night, the hymeneal delights of your embracings. Come, for the moon, my rival, shall not have you. No, for though twice daily after he beckons and you go, you, my bride, a little way back to meet him, as if he once had been your lover, he too, and again enspelled you. Soon, soon, I know it is only feigning, for turning, playfully turning, tidally turning, you rush foamingly, swiftly back to my arms. And so would I have you rush, so rush now, come from the sands where you have stayed too long, come from the reefs where you have wandered silent, for ebbings are good, the restful ebbings of love, but, oh, the bridal flowings of it are better. And now I would have you loose again my tresses, my locks rough and weedy, rough and brown, and brinily tangled, But, oh, again as the bridegroom's, when your tide whispering in, lifts them up, pulsingly up with kisses. Come with your veil thrown back, breaking to spray, and oh, with plangent passion. Come with your naked sweetness, salt and wholesome to my bosom. Let not a cave or crevice of me miss you, or cranny, for oh, the nuptial joy you float into me, the cooling, ambient clasp of you. I have waited overlong, and I need to know again its marriage meaning. For I think it is not alone to bring forth life that I mate you. More than life is the beauty of life with love. Plentiful are the children that you bear to me, the blossoms, the fruits, and all the creatures at your breast duly fed. But mating is troubled with a far higher meaning, a hint of a consumption for all things. Come utterly then, utterly, to me come, and let us surge together, clasped close in infinite union, until we reach a transcendence of all birth and all dying, an ecstasy holding the universe blended, such ecstasy as is its ultimate aim. So sang the shore, the long bay-scented shore, broken by many an isle, many an inlet bird embosomed, and the sea gave answer, bridally, tidally turning, and leapt, radiant, into his rocky arms. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. To a Firefly by the Sea by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. To a Firefly by the Sea. Little torch-bearer, alone with me in the night, you cannot light the sea, nor I illumine life. They are too vast for us, they are too deep for us. We glow with all our strength, but back the shadows sweep, and after a while will come unshadowed sleep. Here on the rocks that take the turning tide, here by the wide lone waves and lonelier waste of sky, we keep our poet watch as patient poets should, questioning earth's commingled ill and good to us, yet little of them or naught have truly understood. Bright are the stars and constellated thick, to you so quick to flit along your flickering course. They seem perhaps as glowing mates in other fields, and all the knowledge I have gathered yields to me scarce more of the great mystery their wonder wields. For the moon we are waiting, and behold her ardent gold drifts up, her sail has caught the breeze that blows all being through the universe always. So now, little light keeper, you no more need nurse your gleam, for lo! She mounts and sullen clouds disperse. And I with aching thought may cease to burn, and humbly turn to rest, knowing no glow of mine can ever be so beauteous as have been to me your soft beams here beside the sea's elusive din. For grief too oft has kindled me, and pain, and the world's sin. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Invocation by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. Invocation. From a high cliff. Sweep unrest out of my blood, winds of the sea. Sweep the fog out of my brain, for I am one who has told life he will be free, who will not doubt of work that's done, who will not fear the work to do, who will hold peaks Promethean better than all Jove's honeydew, who, when the vulture tears his breast, will smile into the terror's eyes, who for the world has this bequest, hope that eternally is wise. End a poem. This recording is in the public domain. I Know Your Heart, O Sea, by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. I know your heart, O Sea. I know your heart, O Sea. You are tossed with cold desire to flood earth utterly. You run at the cliffs, you fling wild billows at beaches, you reach at islands with fingers of foam to crumble them. Yes, even at mountain tops you shout your purpose of making the earth a shoreless circle of waters. I know your surging heart. Tides mighty and all contemptuous rise within it, tides spurred by the wind to champ and charge and thunder, though the sun and moon rein them. At the troubling land, the breeding place of mortals, of men who were ever transmuting life to spirit, and ever taking your salt to savor their tears. I know your tides, I know them. Down they rage, with the questing of men and crying, with their continents cradles of grief and despair. Better entombing waters for them, better are deeps unfathomed, where birth is soulless, life goalless, death tolless for all, and where dark ooze and shrouds pass resurrection. Ah, yes, I know your heart. I have heard it raving at coastlights set to reveal you. I have watched it foam at ships that sought to defy you. I have seen it straining at cables that cross you, bearing whispers hid to you, or heaving at waves of the air that tell your hurricanes. I know your heart. Men you will sink, and shores will sink, but a shore shall be man's forever, from whence his lighthouse soul shall signal the infinite, whose fleets go by, star after star, bearing their unknown burden to a port which only eternity shall determine. End a poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Sea Ghost by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Phil Schempf. O fisher fleet, go in from the sea and furl your wings. The bay is gray with the twilit spray and the loud surf springs. The chill buoy bell is rung by the hands of all the drowned, who know the woe of the wind and tow of the tides around. Go in, O haste from the sea and let them rest, the throng who long for the air, still long, but are still unblessed. Aye, even as I, whose hands at the bell now labor most. The tomb has gloom, but oh, the doom of the dreary sea ghost. He evermore must wander the ooze beneath the wave, forlorn, to warn of the tempest born, and to save, to save. Then go in, and leave us the sea, for only so can peace release us, and give us ease of our salty woe. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Finitude by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by LotusSeven. Finitude. One ruby amid a diamond spray of stars. The coastlight flashes, the tide plashes. Across a mile of bay sweet land the moon comes soon. She has lost half of her lustre and looks old. A cricket, finitude's incarnate cry, and the infinite waters with their hushless sigh, are the two sounds the night has. Each in eternal wistfulness abounds. I've wakened out of my sleep because I too am wistful, tristful, because I know that half of me is gone, and that all frailty cries in the cricket's tone. I've wakened out of my sleep to watch and listen, for what? To see for a moment universes glisten, to wonder and want and go to sleep again, and die and be forgot. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Colonel's Story by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by LotusSeven. The Colonel's Story. No, no, my friend, there is an agony, not to be exorcised out of the world by any voice of hope, but I will tell you. The Sonia was sailing without lights, bearing 300 souls and without bells, for she had reached the zone where the Hun sharks with their torpedo tongues could spit death at us. Out of the inky sea hells where they hid, on the main deck we stood in a wind shelter. My wife, and Bias, a pale girl whose eyes had all disaster in them, and my thought was, I hope to God, the moon is shut so deep in cloud murk there in the east that hurricanes can't blow her out of it, for in the zone the moon had come to mean only betrayal, and now if ever was her wanton chance. The slipping water soaked with soulless dark fell under and around us shudderingly, yet somehow brought an anxious hopefulness. We're making 20 knots, I said, and felt a bow cut through the tangle of the waves, as if the no-man's seas ahead of us would soon be crossed, and I out to rejoin my regiment, could set my wife safe somewhere, and help again to stab that cursed amphibian. Autocracy, whose spawn in the sea gave it a terror greater than infinitudes, for God knows, with the woman that one loves aboard a ship and only a cloud perhaps, between the Hun's shark eyes and sure escape from the black icy fathoms that would choke her. There's little left within a man but nerves, so when I drew her closer into the shelter, out of the shearing wind the life-belt she wore seemed like a coffin in that sepulchre of night and sea, and when the other there, with the disaster eyes and pallid face, turned half towards us, I was shaken as if the moon had suddenly walked out of her shroud, with phosphorescent purpose to reveal us. But on we plunged and tumbled, till at last the black monotonous sink and swell lulled me to faith, and I was only thinking softly of her, my wife's first kiss on a summer night, under the moonlit laurels of our home, when came a cry from the one girl gazing frozenly on the sea, where the moon now indeed was pointing at us pallidly. A death path, and my throat was gripped by it, that clutching cry, as if the glacial depths down under us already had risen up. So starting towards the slipping rail I called, "What is it? Where?" For, tense as a clairvoyant, with eyes that seemed to feel under the tide, the stealthy peril stalking us, she stood there. After a moment's gazing, I too saw what she foresensed, destruction stealing towards us. "The boats," I cried, "the rafts," and stumbled back. Over the streaming deck to her I loved. Then the shock came as if the sea's wild heart had broken under us and ripped the entrails, the human hundreds out of our vessel's hold, to strew the foam with mania and despair. With shrieks strangled by wind and wave and terror, and through that floating mangled blind confusion, where hands reached at the infinite then sank, where faces clung to wreckage as to eternity, I sought for her who shared my life's voyage, who had been my heart's pilot, and who now, wrecked with me, swirled too in the torn waters. And soon I saw her, still by that one girl, tossed on a watery omnipotence. Blind with brine, I swam for her as the moon, her treachery done, again got to a cloud. Flung back by every wave, I fought, beating against them as against God, and soon somehow had reached to a limp body on the surge, limp and strange, but living and not drowned. Then seeing a raft near, I struggled onward, gulping the sea and being gulped by it, but finding arms at last that drew my burden, and me from horror to half-swooning safety. I could have died, I think, of the relief, but the moon came again, nakedly out, as if to see what she had done. Then I, bending over the form that I had fought for, and chafing it, saw, not her I loved. Infinite cruelty, not her I loved, but that pale girl with the eyes of all disaster. Oh yes, I raved and said God was a Hun, a Kaiser of a universe that loathed him, and back too would have leapt into the waves. The same hands that saved were ready to hold me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Cosmism by Cale Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by LotusSeven. Cosmism. The sea asleep like a dreamer sighs. The salt rock pools lie still in the sun, except for the siding crab that creeps through the moveless mosses green and dun. The small grey snail clings everywhere, for the tide is out and the seaweed dries its tangled tresses in the warm air that seems to ooze from the far blue skies, where not a white gull on white wing flies. The mollusk gleams like a gem amid the scurf and the clustered green sea grapes, whose trellis is but the rock's bare side, whose husbandman but the tide that drapes. The little sandpiper tilts and picks his food on the wet sea marges hid, till sudden a wave comes and flicks him off, then flashes away to bid another frighten him as it did. Oh, sweet is the world of living things, and sweet are the mingled sea and shore. It seems as if I never again shall find life ill as oft before, as if my day should come as the clouds come yonder and vanish without wings, as if all sorrow that ever shrouds my soul and darkly about it clings had lost for ever its ravenings, as if I knew with a deeper sense that good alone is ultimate, that never an evil wrought of God or man came truly out of hate, that better springs from the heart of worse, as calm from the heaving elements, that all things born to the universe may suffer and perish utterly hence, but never refute its innocence. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Off the Irish Coast by Cale Young Rice, recorded for LibriVox.org by Jude. Gulls on the wind, crying, crying, are you the ghosts of Erin's dead? Of the forlorn, whose days went sighing, ever for beauty that ever fled? Ever for light that never kindled? Ever for song no lips have sung? Ever for joy that ever dwindled? Ever for love that stung? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Fairies of God by Cale Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by Damla Ozdemir. Last night I slipped from the banks of dream and swam in the currents of God, on a tide where his fairies were at play, catching salt tears in their little white hands for human hearts, and dancing in gala bands on the currents of God, and singing. There is no wind blows here or spray wind upon us, only the waters ripple away under our feet as we gather tears. God has made mortals for the years, us for alway. God has made mortals full of fears, fears for the night and fears for the day. If they would free them of grief that sears, if they would keep what love endears, if they would lay no more lilies on biers, let them say. For we are swift to enchant and tire time's will. Our feet are wiser than all desire. Our song is better than faith or fame. To whom it is given no ill e'er came. Who has it not grows chill. Who has it not grows laggard and lame, nor knows that the world's a minstrel's lyre, smitten and never still. Last night on the currents of God. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Song of the Homesick Gael by Cale Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by Colleen McMahon. The Song of the Homesick Gael, in the characteristic minor of a recent literary movement. I long to see the solan goose wing over Ailsa Crag at dusk again, or Girvan gulls at dawn, to see the osprey greyly glide the winds of Camasig. For greyness now my heart is set upon. The greyness of sea spaces, where there's loneliness alone, save for the wings that sweep it with unrest. Save for the hunger cries that sound and die into a moan, save for the moaning hunger in my breast. For greyness is the hue of all in life that is not lies. 1,000 years of tears are in my heart, and only in their mystery can I be truly wise. From light and laughter follies only start. I long to see the mists again above the tumbling tide, of Elsa at the coming of the night. There's weariness and emptiness and soul unsatisfied forever in the places of delight. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Pageants of the Sea by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. What memories have I of it, the sea continent clasping, the sea whose spirit is a sorcery, the sea whose magic foaming is immortal. What memories have I of it through the years? What memories of its shores, of shadowy headlands doomed to stay the storm, and red cliffs clawing ever into the tides, of misty moors whose royal heather purples, of channeled marshes, village nesting hills, of crags wind-eaten, homes of hungry gulls, of bays where sails float furled, resting softly at harbor, until winging again they sweep away. What memories have I, too, of faring out at dawn upon tameless waters, upon the infinite wasted yearning of them, while winds, the mystic harp strings of the world, were sounding sweet farewells, while coast and lighthouse tower were fading fast, and from me all the world slipped like a garment. What memories of mid deeps, of heaving on through haunted vasts of foam, through swaying terrors of tormented tides, while the wind no more singing took to raving in rhythmic infinite words, a chantany ancient and immeasurable, concerning man and God. What memories of fog spaces, wide leaden deserts of dim wavelessness, smooth porpoise broken glass as gray as a dream upon despair's horizon. What sailing soft till lo the shroud was lifted, and suddenly there came as a great joy the blue sublimity of summer skies, the azure mystery of happy heavens, the passionate sweet parley of the breeze, and dancing waves that lured us on and on, past islands above whose verdant mountain heads enchanted clouds were hanging, and whence wild spices wandered, past iridescent reefs and vessels bound for ports unknown. Oh, far, far past, until the sun and fire and impotent and shrunken orb lay dying on heaving twilight purple gathered round. And then, what nights! The phantom moon in misty resurrection arising from her sepulchre in the east, and sparkling the dark waters, the unremembering moon, and covenants of star to faithful star, dewy like tears of God across the sky, and under the moon's fair ring Orion running forever in great war adown the west. What far infinite nights, with cloud horizons where the lightning slumbered, or wakened once and again with startled watch, again to fall to sleep, and leave the moon path free for all my thoughts to wander peacefully away and still away, until the stars sighed out in dawn's great pallor, just as the lands of my desire appeared. What memories I have of it. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Song of the Old Venetians by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. The 7 fleets of Venice set sail across the sea for Cyprus and for Trebizond, Ayub and Araby. Their gonfalons are floating fair, St. Mark's has heard the mass, and to the noon the salt lagoon lies white like burning glass. The 7 fleets of Venice, and each its way to go, led by a Falier, our Tron, Zorzi, our Dandolo. The Patriarch has blessed them all. The Doge has waved the word, and in their wings the murmurings of waiting winds are heard. The 7 fleets of Venice, and what shall be their fate? One shall return with porphyry, and pearl, and fair agate. One shall return with spice and spoil, and silk of Samarcand. But nevermore shall one win o'er the sea to any land. Oh, they shall bring the East back, and they shall bring the West. The 7 fleets our Venice sets a sail upon her quest. But some shall bring despair back, and some shall leave their keels deeper than wind or wave frets, or sun ever steals. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Basking by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by April 6090, California, United States of America. Give me a spot in the sun with a lizard basking by me. In Sicily over the sea, where winter is sweet as spring, where Etna lifts his plume of curling smoke to try me. But all in vain, for I will not climb. His height is so ravishing. Give me a spot in the sun, so high on a cliff that, under, far down, the flecking sails, like white moths, flit the blue, that over me on a crag, there hangs, O airy wonder, a white town drowsing in its nest, that cypress tops peep through. Give me a spot in the sun, with contadini singing, and a goat boy at his pipes, and donkey bells heard round, upon steep mountain paths, where a peasant cart comes swinging, mid joyous, hot invectives that, so blameless here abound. Give me a spot in the sun, in a land whose speech is flowers, whose breath is hybla sweet, whose soul is still a fawn's, whose limbs the sea enlaps, through long delicious hours, with liquid tenderness and light, sweet as the Lycian dawns. Give me a spot in the sun, with a view past vale and villa, past grottoed isle and sea, to Italy and the Cape, around whose turning lies old heathen-hearted Scylla, whom may an ancient sailor prayed, the gods he might escape. Give me a spot in the sun, with sly old Pan as lazy as I, ever to tempt me, to disbelief and doubt, of all gods else, from Jove to Bacchus, born wine crazy. Give me, I say, a spot in the sun, and realms I'll do without. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sappho's Death Song by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Colleen McMahon. Sappho's Death Song, on her sea cliff in Leucady. What have I gathered the years did not take from me? Swallows, hear as you fly from the cold. Whom have I bound to me never to break from me? Whom, O wind of the wold? Whom, O wind, O hunter of spirits? Pierce his spirit whose spear is in mine. Then let oblivion loose this ache from me, Proserpine. Lyre and the laurel the muses gave to me. Why comes summer when winter is nigh? Spent am I now, and pain voices rave to me, O sea and its cry. O the sea that has suffered all sorrow, sea of the Delphian tongue ever shrill. Naught from the wreck of love can now save to me any thrill. Life that we live passes pale or amorous. Tread, O vintagers, grapes in the press. Mine's but a prey to Erinyes clamorous. O for wine that will bless. Wine that foams, but is free of all madness. Free, O Cyprus, of fury's breath. Free as I now shall be, O glamorous queen of death. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Wind's Word by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by AnnaLisa Bodker. A star that I love, the sea and I spake together across the night. Have peace, said the star. Have power, said the sea. Yea, I answered, and fame's delight. The wind on his way to Araby paused and listened and sighed and said, I passed on the sands of Pharaoh's tomb. All these did he have, and he is dead. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Submarine Mountains by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Under the sea, which is their sky, they rise to watery altitudes as vast as those of far Himalayan peaks impent in snows, and veils of cloud in sacred deep repose. Under the sea, their flowing firmament, more dark than any ray of sun can pierce, the earthquake thrust them up with mighty tierce, and left them to be seen but by the eyes of awed imagination inward bent. Their vegetation is the viscid ooze, whose mysteries are past belief or thought. Creation seems around them devil wrought, or by some cosmic urgence gone distraught. Down their precipices, chill and dense, with the dank midnight creep or crawl or climb such tentacled and eyeless things of slime, such monster shapes as tempt us to accuse life of miscreative impotence. About their peaks the shark, their eagle, floats in the thick azure far beneath the air, or downward sweeps upon the prey that may dare set forth from any silent weedy lair. But one desire on all their slopes is found, desire of food, the awful hunger strife. Yet here, it may be, was begun our life, here all the dreams in which our vision dotes in unevolved obscurity were bound. Too strange it is, too terrible, and yet it matters not how we were wrought, or whence life came to us by all its throb intense, if in it is a godly immanence. It matters not, if haply we are more than creatures half conceived by blind force that sweeps the universe in a chance course, for only in unmeaning might is met the intolerable thought none can ignore. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Song of the Storm Spirits by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by April 6090, California, United States of America. Come over the tide, come over the foam, dance on the hurricane, leap its waves. Dream not of the calm sea caves, nor of content in them and home. For that is the reason the hearts of men are ever weary. They would abide somewhere out of the spumy stride of the world's spindrift, a want denied. That is the reason, though they know that the restive years have no true home, but only a whence, whither, and when, whence and whither from hearts to roam. So who would tarry and rest the while, not dance as we, and sing on the wind, against the whole flow of the world has sinned, and soon is weary and cannot smile. Dance then, dance, on the fleeting spray. None can gather eternity into his heart and bid it stay. Swiftly again it slips away. Dance and know that the will of life is the wind's will and the will of the tide, and who finds not a home in its strife shall find no home on any side. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Great Seducer by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Damla Ozdemir. Who looks too long from his window at the grey, wide, cold sea, where breakers scour the beaches with fingers of sharp foam, who looks too long through the grey pane at the mad, wild, bold sea, shall sell his hearth to a stranger and turn his back on home. Who looks too long from his window, though his wife waits by the fireside, at a ship's wings in the offing, at a gull's wings in air, shall latch his gate behind him, though his cattle call from the byreside, and kiss his wife, and leave her, and wander everywhere. Who looks too long in the twilight, or the dawnlight, or the noonlight, who sees an anchor lifted, and hungers past content, shall pack his chest for the world's end, for alien sun or moonlight, and follow the wind, sateless, to disillusionment. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Kukyang by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Colleen McMahon. Kukyang. Because the sun like a Chinese lantern set in a temple of clouds tonight, I was back in Kukyang. Because in a temple of dragon clouds, as if with incense misty red, it hung there over the rim of the sea, I was back in a narrow street where amber faces pass all day, going to pay, going to pray, going the same old human way they have gone for 1,000 years, men say, in Kukyang. And I heard the coolie cry for his fare, I heard the merchant praise his ware of bronze and porcelain set to snare in Kukyang. I saw strange streaming signs in black, with gold and crimson on their back, opiate signs in an opiate street, where the slip and patter of felt-shod feet is old as the sun, and the temple door as cool and dark as the night. And where dim lanterns swinging there, as a lure to human grief and care, half reveal and half conceal the ancestral gloom of the gods. I saw all this with sudden pang, as if by hashish swept or bang, because the sun like a Chinese lantern set in a temple of clouds. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Typhoon at Hong Kong by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Damla Ozdemir. I was weary and slept on the peak. The air clung close like a shroud, and ever the blue fly at my ear buzzed haunting, hot and loud. I awoke and the sky was dun with awe and a dread that soon went shuddering through my heart, for I knew that it meant typhoon, typhoon. In the harbour below, far down, the junks like fowl in a flock were tossing in wingless terror, or fled fluttering in from the shock. The city, a breathless bend of roofs by the water strewn, lay silent and waiting, yet there was none within it but said typhoon. Then it came, like a million winds gone mad immeasurably, a torrid and tortuous tempest stung by rape of the fair South Sea, and it swept, like a scud escaped from crater of sun or moon, and struck as no power of heaven could, or of hell, typhoon, typhoon. And the junks were smitten and torn, the drowning struggled and cried, or, dashed on the granite walls of the sea, in succourless hundreds died, till I shut the sight from my eyes, and prayed for my soul to swoon. If ever I see God's face, let it be guiltless of that typhoon. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Penang by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Laurie Wilson. I want to go back to Singapore and ship along the straits, to a bungalow I know beside Penang, where coconut palms along the shore are waving and the gates of peace shut sorrow out for evermore. I want to go back and hear the surf come beating in at night, like the washing of eternity over the dead. I want to see dawn fare up and day go down in golden light. I want to go back to Penang. I want to go back. I want to go back to Singapore and up along the straits to the bungalow that waits me by the tide, where the Tamil and Malay tell their lore at evening, and the fates have set no soothless canker at life's core. I want to go back and mend my heart beneath the tropic moon, while the tamarind tree is whispering thoughts of sleep. I want to believe that earth again with heaven is in tune. I want to go back to Penang. I want to go back. I want to go back to Singapore and ship along the straits to the bungalow I left upon the strand, where the foam of the world grows faint before it enters and abates in meanings as I hear the palm wind pour. I want to go back and end my days some evening when the cross on the southern sky hangs heavenly far and sad. I want to remember when I die that life elsewhere was loss. I want to go back to Penang. I want to go back. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Nights on the Indian Ocean by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer. Nights on the Indian Ocean, long nights of moon and foam, when silvery Venus low in the sky follows the sun home. Long nights when the mild monsoon is breaking south by west, and when soft clouds and the singing shrouds make all that is seem best. Nights on the Indian Ocean, long nights of space and dream, when silent Sirius round the pole swings on with steady gleam. When oft the pushing prow seems pressing where before no prow has ever pressed, or shall from hence forevermore. Nights on the Indian Ocean, long nights with land at last, dim land, dissolving the long sea spell into a sudden past that seems as far away as this our life shall seem, when under the shadow of death's shore we dropped its ended dream. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sighting Arabia by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. My heart, that is Arabia, O sea, that talismanic sweep of sunset coast which lies like richly wrought enchantment's ghost before us, bringing back youth's witchery. Arabian Nights, at last to us one comes, the crescent moon upon its purple brow. Will not Haroun and Baghdad rise up now, there on the shore to beating of his drums? Is not that gull a rock? That sail Sinbad's? That rocky pinnacle a minaret? Does the wind call to prayer from it? Oh, yet I hear the fancy, fervid as a lad's. Allah il Allah rings it. Oh, my heart, fall prostrate, for to Mecca we are near. That flashing light is but a sign sent clear from her, your hurry as her curtains part. Soon she will lean out from her lattice, soon, and bid you climb up to your paradise, which is her panting lips and passion eyes under the drunken sweetness of the moon. O heart, my heart, drink deeply ere they die. The sunset dome, the minaret, the dreams flashing afar from youth's returnless stream. For we, my heart, must grow old, you and I. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. All's Well by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. The illimitable leaping of the sea, the mouthing of its madness to the moon, the seething of its endless sorcery, its prophecy no power can attune, swept over me as the sounding prow of a great ship that steered into the stars. I stood and felt the awe upon my brow of death and destiny and all that mars. The wind that blew from Cassiopeia cast wanly upon my ear a rune that rung. The sailor in his eyrie on the mast sang an "All's well" that to the spirit clung like a lost voice from some aerial realm where ships sail on forever to no shore, where time gives immortality the helm and fades like a far phantom from life's door. And all is well, O thou unweariable, who launchest worlds upon bewildered space. Rose in me, all? Or did thy hand grow dull, building this world that bears a piteous race? Oh, was it launched too soon, or launched too late? Or can it be a derelict that drifts beyond thy ken toward some reef of fate on which oblivion's sand forever shifts? The sea grew softer as I questioned, calm with mystery that like an answer moved, and from infinity there fell a balm. The old peace that God is, though all unproved. The old faith that though gulfs sidereal stun, the soul and knowledge drown within their deep. There is no world that wanders, not one of all the millions, that he does not keep. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Somnambulism by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org. Night is above me, and night is above the night. The sea is beside me soughing, oar is still. The earth as a somnambulist moves on in a strange sleep. A seabird cries, and the cry wakes in me dim, dead sea folk, my sires, who more than myself are me, who sat on their beach long nights ago and saw the sea in its silence, and cursed it or implored, or with the cross defied, then on the morrow in their boats went down. Night is above me, and night is above the night. Rocks are about me, and, beyond, the sand, and the low, reluctant tide that rushes back to ebb a last farewell to the flotsam borne so long upon its breast. Rocks, but the tide is out, and the slime lies naked like a thing ashamed that has no hiding place, and the seabird hushes, the bird and all far cries within my blood, and the earth as a somnambulist moves on. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Chartings by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org. There is no moon, only the sea and stars. There is no land, only the vessel's bow, on which I stand alone and wonder how men ever dream of ports beyond the bars of finitude that fix the here and now. A meteor falls, and foam beneath me breaks. Dim phosphor fires within it faintly die. So soft the sea is that it seems a sky on which eternity to life awakes. The universe is spread before my face, worlds where perchance a million seas like this are flowing, and where tides of pain and bliss find, as on earth, so prevalent a place, that nothing of their wont we there should miss. The universe, that man has dared to say, is but one being, ah, courageous thought, which is so vast that hope itself is fraught with shame while saying it, and shrinks away. Shrinks even as now, for clouds sweep up the skies, and darken the wide waters circling round, from out whose deep arises the old sound of terror unto which no tongue replies, but faith that nothing ever shall confound. Not only pagan Perseus, but the cross is shrouded with wild wind and wilder rain, that on me beat until my soul again sings unsurrendering to fears of loss. For this I know, yea, though all else lie hid, uncharted on the waters of our fate, all lands of whence or whither whose estate in vain imagination seeks to thrid, yet cannot for the fog within death's gate. This thing I know, that life, whatever its source, or destiny, comes with an upward urge, and that we cannot thwart its mighty surge, but with a joy and strife must keep the course. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Trail from the Sea by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Elaine Conway. I took the trail to the wooded canyon, the trail from the sea, for I heard a calling in me, a landward calling irresistible in me. Have done with things of the sea, things of the soul. Have done with waters that slip away from under you. Have done with things faithless, things unfathomable, and vain with the vast deeps of time and the hereafter. Have done with the fog-breather, the fog-beguiler, with the foam of the never-resting. Have done with tides and passions, tides and mysteries for a season. Have done with infinite yearnings cast adrift on infinite vagueness, with never a certain sail, never a rudder sure for guidance, never a compass needle free of desire. For the ways of earth are good as well as sea ways, the peaks of it as well as ports unknown. Not only perils matter, stormy perils, over the pathless, not only the shoals that sink your ship of dreams, not only the phantom lure of far horizons, not only the windy guess at the goals of God. But morning matters, and dew upon the rose, and noon, shadowless noon, and simple sheep on the pastures straying, and toil matters amid the accustomed corn, and peace matters, the valley spirit of peace, unprone to wander, unprone to pierce to the world's end, and past it, and zephyrs matter that never lift up a sail, save that of the thistle voyaging over the meadow. And the lark, oh, the sunny lark, as well as the songless petrel, who cries the foamy length of 1,000 leagues, and silence matters, silence free of all surging, silence the spirit of happiness and home. And oh, how much the laugh of a child matters, more than the green of an island suddenly lit by sun at dawn, and friends, the greeting of friends, how they matter, more than ships that meet and fling a wild ahoy and pass, on any alien tides, however enchanted. And the face of love, the evening face of love, at a window waiting, shall ever a kindled light on any long unlifting shore, shall ever a harbour light like that light matter? Ah no, so enough of the sea and the soul for a season. Too long followed they leave life as a dream, reality as a mirage when port is made. Ever in sight of the human is the helm word the wisest, for earth is not earth to one upon the flood of infinity. To the eye then it is but an atom star, adrift, and oh, no longer warm with the beating of countless hearts, no longer warm with the human throb, the simple breath of today, with yester-hours, or the near dreams of tomorrow, no longer rich with the little innumerous blooms of brief delights, nor all divinely drenched with sympathy, no longer green with the humble grass of duties that must grow, to clothe it against desert aridity, no longer zoned with the air of hope, no longer large with faith, no longer heaven enough, if heaven fails us. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Haunted Seas by Cale Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by AnnaLisa Bodker. A gleaming glassy ocean under a sky of gray, a tide that dreams of motion or moves as the dead may. A bird that dips and wavers over lone waters round, then with a cry that quavers is gone, a spectral sound. The brown sad seaweed drifting far from the land and lost, the faint warm fog uplifting the derelict long tossed, but now at rest, though haunted by the death-scenting shark, whose prey, no more undaunted, slips from it spent and stark. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sea Lure, the Maine Coast by Cale Young Rice, Read for LibriVox.org by Ari Lee. It is so, O sea, wild roses bloom here in the scent of your brine, and the juniper round them closes, and the bays amid them twine, to guard and to praise their beauty, and the gulls above them cry, and the stern rocks stand on duty, where the surf beats white and high. It is so, O sea, wild roses, with the day-long fog bedrenched, have come from their inland closes, with a thirst for you unquenched, and over your cliffs they clamber, and over your vasts they gaze, for the tides of you can enamor even them with their woodland ways. Yea, the passion of you and the power and the largeness are a lure to even the heart of a flower, O sea with a heart unsure. For love is a thing unsated, nor ever in any breast has it dwelt all want abated, at rest. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Songs to AHR by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Ari Lee. 1. Minglings. It is the old, old vision, the moonlit sea and you. I cannot make disseverance between the two. For all the world's wide beauty, to me you seem all that I love in shadow, or glow, or gleam. It is the old, old murmur, the sea sound and your voice. God in his bliss between them could make no choice. For all the world's deep music in you I hear, nor shall I ask death ever for aught more dear. 2. Love and Infinity. Across the kindling twilight moon a late gull wings to rest. The sea is murmuring underneath its vast eternal quest. The coastlight flashes over the tide, a red and warning eye, and oh, the world is very wide, but you are nigh. The stars come out from zone to zone, the wind knows every one, and blows their message to my heart, as it has ever done. They are all gods, it tells me, all, however huge or high, but ah, I could not trust its call, were you not by. 3. Recompense. Not if I chose from a world of days could I find a day like this. The sky is a wreath of azure haze, and the sea an azure bliss. The surf runs racing the young salt wind, shouting without a fear, over reef, bar, cliff, and scar, where you and I lie near. O you and I who have watched the sky, and sea from many a shore, you, love, and I who will live and die, and watch the sea no more. O joy of the world, joy of love, joy that can say to death, though you end all with your wanton pall, we too have had this breath. 4. At the ebb hour. As I hear through the midnight sighing, the low ebb tide withdrawn, and gulls on the dark cliff crying for far discernless dawn, it seems that all life is lying within your every breath, yet I cannot believe in dying or death. As I hear from the great church tower the bells' unfailing sound peal forth hour after hour to night's lone reaches round, it seems as if time's wan power would sear all things apace, all save in my heart one flower, your face. 5. In a dark hour. You are not with me, only the moon, the sea and the gulls cry, out of tune, the myriad cry of the gulls still strewn on the sands where the tide will enter soon. You are not with me, only the breath of the wind, and then the wind's death, a shrouding silence then that saith, even as the wind love vanisheth. You are not with me, only fear, as old as earth's first frenzied bier, that severed two whose hearts were near, and left one with all life unclear. 6. Via Amorosa. When we two walk, my love, on the path, the moon makes over the sea, to the end of the world where sorrow hath an end that is ecstasy. Should we not think of the other road, of wearying dust and stone, Our feet would fare did each but care to follow the way alone. When we two slip at night to the skies, and find one star that we keep as a trysting place to which our eyes may lead our souls ere sleep, should we not pause for a little space and think how many must sigh because they gaze over starry ways with no heart comrade by? When we two then lie down to our dreams that deepen still the delight of our wandering where stars and streams stray in immortal light, should we not grieve with the myriads from east of earth to west who lay them down at night but to drown a longing for some loved breast? Ah yes, for life has 1,000 gifts, but love it is gives life. Who walks through his world in loneness lifts a soul that is sorrow rife. But they to whom it is given to tread the moon path and not sink can ever say the unhappiest way earth has is fair to the brink. 7. Transfusion. A shoal light flashes east, and livid lightning west, the silvery dark nights see between, on which we ride at rest, and gaze far, far away into the fretless skies, world sadness in our thought, but content within our eyes. The ship's bell strikes, the sound floats shouted to our ears, then suddenly as at a touch, the universe appears, a presence infinite that penetrates our love, and makes us one with night and sea, and all the stars above. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Need of Storm, Naples on the Gulf, by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Ari Lee. On the green floor of the Gulf the wind is walking, printing it with invisible feet. The tide is talking. Purple and gray the horizon walls them round, with purpler clouds. They wander in it like guests gently astray, in a house deep mystery shrouds. I do not know the speech of the tide, for too articulate have become my years. Beauty brings only words, not breathless tears. So the young heron fishing there in the foam, on the sand's edge, would once have taken my spirit far, far home, to the infinite, when he vanished through the gloam. But now I am left behind on the beach, a shell that no more knows the wonder of the sea's swell, or more than the empty echo of its knell. To see then life, wildly to sea with a storm, sweep me again from the smooth dull beach of custom where I lie, that I may feel once more the swaying surge of passion throw me swarm. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Florida Interlude, Naples on the Gulf. 1. Behind me lie the Everglades, the mystic, grassy Everglades, where the moccasin and the Seminole glide in secret, silent Indian ways. Before me lies the Gulf, the cup of blue bright tropic waters, held to the parched lips of the South, to cool and quench its thirst. Behind me lie the Everglades, before me lies the Gulf, which the sunset soon shall change to wine, a Eucharist for the longing soul. Its rim of land shall be transformed to Mexic opal and chrysoprase, and then shall come the moon, as calm as a thought of Christ, as calm as a thought of Christ, over the cups sand-rimmed and chased with palm and pine Floridian friends, saying their twilight litanies, while homeward flies the heron to his island cypress in the swamp, which Spanish mosses drape, and the moon silvery soothes to peace. 2. Behind me lie the Everglades, where the bittern wails to the moon's face. Peace is gone as I wake, and memory in me wails, from the primal swamp heredity, whence I have come with all the desires of creeping, walking, flying things, to creep or walk or fly. With all the desires of the earth creatures, yet with a want transcendent, a want that comes with the glimmer of stars, and pierces to my heart, a want of the life I have not known, of the life unknowable, in the Everglades of the universe, where the Great Spirit glides. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Florida Boating Song by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Ari Lee. Down through Florida Keys, from island to island. Down through Florida Keys, where mangrove roots dip into the seas. A myriad tangled roots from each palmetto by land. Oyster-encrusted roots mid which the heron wades in the shallow shades. Down through Florida Keys, around them, between them. Through low green Florida Keys, so low they scarce seem born of the seas, where pouchy pelicans roost on cypresses that lean them, out over the idle lap of the tide that comes and goes with balmy flows. Down through Florida Keys, through mazes on mazes of ripple-encircled keys, where sun and wind play as they please, where the eaglet high in air or the wild white ibis dazes, eyes that follow them up the blue, as the heart would do, the heart too. Down through Florida Keys, I'm going, through low green Florida Keys, and greener glades of Florida seas. And this is all I know, that all in the world worth knowing, is joy like that of the tarpon's leap, in air divine with the warm sunshine. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Dawn Bliss, Naples on the Gulf, by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Ari Lee. I went out at dawn. Pelicans were fishing, big-beaked, gray and brown. Little waves were swishing. Clouds creamed the sky, as shells creamed the shore. Wild, airy hues of beauty round seemed to pour. I went out at dawn. Pelicans were floating, big beaks upon their breasts. Up the sun came boating. Ship ahoy, I cried, to his golden sail. Bliss winds of beauty in me broke to a gale. I went out at dawn. Pelicans were winging. Palms waved passion plumes. Beach sands were singing. Stripped save of strength, I plunged into the sea, and swam till the bliss of beauty died away in me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Atavism by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Phil Schempf. I leant out over a ledging cliff and looked down into the sea, where weed and kelp and dulse swayed in green translucency, where the abalone clung to the rock and the starfish lay about, purpling the sands that slid away under the silver trout. And the sea urchin too was there, and the sea anemone. It was a world of watery shapes and hues and wizardry, and I felt old stirrings wake in me under the tides of time, sea hauntings I had brought with me out of the ancient slime. And now, as I muse, I cannot rid my senses of the spell that in a tidal trance all things around me drift and swell under the sea of the universe, down into which strange eyes keep peering at me, as I peered, with wonder and surmise. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Re-Reckoning by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Phil Schempf. 2 years have gone, and again I stand on the bow of a mighty ship that pushes her way 'twixt sea and stars with soft and dreamy dip. 2 years of laboring heart and hand, of waging spirit wars, of wondering ever what life is, and if death heals its scars. 2 years, and again the mast bell sounds above me, with a low voice as ghostly as the white phosphor foam that breaks with the old noise of waters that have washed all bounds of earth that is man's home, his ark, on the wide ether flung, unrestingly to roam. For, even as we, is this our earth an endless wanderer, far down a universe with vast strange voyagings astir. and where time ever brings to birth a craving never past, to fare from where we are to where no anchor ever was cast. A craving, in the mote, the man, the mollusk and the star, a yearning on. O life, O life, how far it leads, how far! Unbelievably began our voyage, mid a strange strife that, meaningless, yet seems to mean it is with wisdom rife. But it is not. Shall we say, let man scuttle his ship, and drown in universal death the griefs that at him grip? No, for no surety rests therein, to certain end of breath. He can but let hope set the course his soul foretokeneth. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To the Afternoon Moon at Sea by Cale Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by phone. Take care, O wisp of a moon, vague on the sunny blue above the sea. Or the gull flying across you will pierce your veil-thin shape with a sharp wing. Take care, or the wind will wilt you, as he does the clouds snowily drifting by you, and diffuse you over the sky a silvery mist, to give more cool to the day. Take care, so near the horizon, or a phantom skipper, one who has long been drowned, will reach above it and seize you, and make you his sail to circle the world forever. Take care, for frailty is the prey of the strong, and you, a wraith of it, have yet a long while to go before nightfall brings you sure effulgence. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Paths by Cale Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by phone. Crushing in my hand the bay as I pass, drinking in its fragrance with the sea scent, while gull-wings write poems white and fast on the blue sky that is soft with content. Crushing in my hand the bay and the juniper, while I record each line the gulls write. I go by sea paths, down to the sea's edge. I go by heart paths, deep into the light. Simple is my joy as the little sandpipers, who follows beside me with silvery song. Blither than the breeze that skims great billows nor knows how deep is their flow or strong. Simple is my joy, a sunny scent sweetness, full of bird bliss, bay warmth, spray leap. Mysteries there are and miseries beneath it, but sunk like wrecks far down in the deeps. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. From a Northern Beach by Cale Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by phone. Is it because for 1,000,000 years the tide has entered here from cold North Seas where ice floes freeze, that ever unto my ear primordial loneness in its voice comes telling of that time when life was not upon the earth, but only glacier rime? Is it because these granite rocks I share with weed and scurf were held so long by the ice throng, that now they take the surf so selflessly and soullessly, as if God's immanence had been pressed from them never more to enter with sweet sense? And is it because I, too, evolved, from ice and sea and shore, can understand how life has spanned, the lifeless age o'er, that as I sit here suddenly the tide again seems stilled, and earth beneath a great white pole again lies changed and chilled? So it must be, ah, so, for soft within my muted brain the heritage of age on age reverberates again. Wherefore when glacial silence comes, with death I shall emerge, from that as from the frozen past, under life's endless urge. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Passage by Kill Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by phone. A dark sail, like a wild goose wing, where the sunset was. The moon soon will silver its sinewy flight through the night watches, and the far flight of those immortal migrants, the ever-returning stars. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Aline by Kill Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by phone. The long line of the foaming coast is muffled by the fog's grey ghost. I cross the league of sea between and lift the latch and kiss Aline. She throws a log upon the fire. I draw her to me, nigh and nigher. She does not know what a brief time ago it was my arms held crime. The surf is beating on the shore. We hear our own heart beatings more. She speaks of him, and my reply is silence. Does she wonder why? I do not love him, have no fear, her whisper is against my ear. At last, I have no fear, say I. She starts, as at a wild beast's cry. And then she sees red on my coat. A stillborn cry throbs in her throat. The fog sweeps by the window pane. Her sight is fixed on one dull stain. I rise and light my pipe and go, leaving her standing, staring so. The wind means storm, I think, tonight, but more than that will make her white. And yet, had it been yesterday she said those words, I could still pray. There would be still a God above, for two, no overwhelmed, to love. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. To a Solitary Sea-Gull by Cale Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by phone. Lone white gull with sickle wings, you reap for the heart inscrutable things, sorrow of mists and surf of the shore, winds that sigh of the nevermore, fret of foam and flurry of rain, swept far over the troubled tide, mats of mystery and grey pain, the sea's voice ever yields beside. Lone white gull, you reap for the heart life's most sad and inscrutable part. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Ineffable Things by Cale Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by Phil Schempf. The little song sparrow is gone, and the summer is nearly ended. The rill of his song was a happy rift in the surging sound of the sea. The swallow was lingering on, and the silvery swift sandpiper. And I, though I know my saddened heart has lost an ineffable thing that summer no more can bring. With the first bay leaves that flung their scent to me by the billows, I twined some faith, some trust, as glad as the sparrow's song, and the terns that darted among the tides seemed weaving for me impalpable wings of peace and hope, that now have taken flight beyond the day and the night. Ah, life, you have known my plea for sun and the tide of fortune, for winds to waken my sail and bear me joyously over the world. Know too how much of your fog and storm and rain I will suffer, if only you do not sweep from me the dear ineffable things to which your fragrance clings. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Song of a Seafarer by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Many are on the sea today, with all sails set. The tide rolls in a restive gray, the wind blows wet. The gull is weary of his wings, and I am weary of all things. Heavy upon me longing lies. My sad eyes gaze across sad leagues that sink and rise and sink always. My life has sunk and risen so, I'd have it cease a while to flow. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Waves by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer. The evening sails come home with twilight in their wings. The harbour light across the gloam springs, the wind sings. The waves begin to tell the sea's night sorrow o'er, weaving within their ancient spell more than earth's lore. The rising moon wafts strange low lures across the tide, on which my dim thoughts seem to range, stride upon stride, until with flooding thrill they seem at last to blend with waves that from the eternal will wend without end. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
In a Storm by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by phone. To a Petrel. All day long in the spindrift swinging, bird of the sea, how I would that I had thy winging, how I envy thee. How I would that I had thy spirit, so to careen, joyous to cry, over the storm and never fear it, into the night that hovers near it, calm on a reeling sky. All day long and the night unresting, ah, I believe thy every breath means that life's best comes ever breasting peril and pain and death. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
After Their Parting by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer. After their parting, a woman speaks. You know that rock on a rocky coast, where the moon came up, a ruined ghost, distorted until her shape almost seemed breaking, came up like a phantom silently and dropped her shroud on the red night sea, then walked, a spectral mystery unwaking. You know how sudden there came a change when she had left the sea's low range, its lurid crimson, stark and strange behind her. How sudden her silver self shone through, tranquilly free of the earth's stained hue, and found a way where the clouds were few to bind her. You know this? Then go back some day when I have gone the moonless way, to that dark rock whereon we lay and waited, and when the moon has arisen free, your soiling doubt shall fall from me, and eased of unrest your heart shall be, and sated. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Word's Magic by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Elaine Conway. Do you remember Etajima, and how, upon a moon-fogged sea, as ghostly as ever a tide shall be, we passed an island silently? And how a low voice in the gloom of the temple pine trees, leaning there, said sayonara to one somewhere, unseen in the shadow-haunted air. Just sayonara, but it seemed the soul of all farewells that night, the sigh of all withdrawn delight, the sound of love's last rapture rite. And now, after long years, it comes again from isles of memory, to bring once more to birth in me the breath of all lost witchery. Yes, one low word of parting, now echoing through the fog of years, has touched my heart with beauty's tears, and youth through all things reappears. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sea Rhapsody, out of Hong Kong, by Cale Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by AnnaLisa Bodker. Never again did I hope to breathe such joy. The sea is blue and the winds halloo up to the sun. Ahoy! Ahoy, they shout, and the mists they rout from the mountain tops go streaming. In happy play where gulls sway and a million waves are gleaming. And every wave, billowing brave, is tipped with a wild delight. A garden of isles around me smiles, bathed in the blue noon light. The rude brown bunk of the fishing junk seems fair as a sea king's palace. O wine of the sky the gods have spilt out of its crystal chalice. For wine is the wind, wine the sea, wine for the sinking spirit, to lift it up from the cling of clay into high bliss or near it. So let me drink till I cease to think, and know with a sting of rapture that joy is yet as wide as the world for men at last to capture. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. In an Oriental Harbour, by Cale Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by AnnaLisa Bodker. All the ships of the world come here, rest a little, then set to sea. Some ride up to the waiting pier, some drop anchor beyond the quay. Some have funnels of blue and black, some come once but come not back. Some have funnels of red and yellow, some, O war, have funnels of gray. All the ships of the world come here, ships from every billow's foam, fruiter and oiler, pirateer, liner and lugger, and tramp a-roam. Some are scented of palm and pine, some are fain for the pole's far climb. Some are scented of soy and senna, some, ah me, are scented of home. All the ships of the world come here, day and night there is sound of bells. Seeking the port they calmly steer, clearing the port they ring farewells. Under the sun or under the stars, under the light of swaying spars, under the moon or under morning, do they swing as the tide swells. All the ships of the world come here, rest a little, and then are gone, over the crystal planet sphere, swept through every season on. Swept to every cape and isle, every coast of cloud or smile, swept till over them sweeps the sorrow of their last sea dawn. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Under the Sky, by Cale Young Rice, read for LibriVox.org by April 6090, California, United States of America. Far out to sea go the fishing junks, with all sails set. The tide swings gray, and clouds sway. The wind blows wet from the long coast lying dim, as if mist-born. Far out they sail, as the stars pale, the stars of morn. Far out to sea go the fishing junks, and I who pass upon a deck that is vaster wreck, no more, alas, of all their life or they of mine, than comes to this, that under the sky we live and die, like all that is. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Song for Healing by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Kathy Orlando, June 14th, 2018, Minneapolis, Minnesota. When I return to the world again, the world of fret and fight, to grapple with godless things and men, and battle wrong or right, I will remember this, the sea, and the white stars hanging high, and the vessel's bow where calmly now I gaze to the boundless sky. When I am deaf with the din of strife, and blind amid despair, when I am choked with the dust of life, and long for free soul air, I will recall the sound, the seas, and the wide horizon's hope, and the wind that blows, and the phosphor snows that fall as the cleft waves ope. When I am beaten, when I fall on the bed of black defeat, when I have hungered and in gall have got but shame to eat, I will remember this, the sea, and its tide as soft as sleep, and the clear night sky that heals for aye all who will trust its deep. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Sinhalese Love Lament by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Elaine Conway. As the coconut palm that pines, my love, away from the sound of the planter's voice, am I, for I hear no more resound your song by the pearl-strewn sea. The sun may come, and the moon wax round, and in its beam my mates may rejoice, but I feast not, and my heart is dumb, as I long, oh long, for thee. In the jungle deeps, where the cobra creeps, the leopard lies in wait for me. But oh, my love, when the daylight dies, there is more to my dread than he. Harsh lonely tears that assail my eyes are worse to bear, for the misery that makes them well is the long, long years that I moan away from thee. Oh, again, again, in my catamaran, a keel would I push to your palmy door. Again would I hear the heave and hush of your song by the plantain tree. But far away do I toil and crush the hopes that arise at my sick heart's core. For never near does it come, the day that draws me again to thee. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The City by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by April 6090, California, United States of America. Soft and fair by the desert's edge, and on the dim blue edge of the sea, where white gulls wing all day and fledge their young on the high cliff's sandy ledge. There is a city I have beheld, sometime or where, by day or dream, I know not which, for it seems enspelled, as I am by its memory. Pale minarets of the prophet pierce above it into the white of the skies, and sails enchanted 1,000 years flit at its feet while fancy steers. No face of all its faces to me is known, no passion of it or pain. It is but a city by the sea, enshrined forever beyond my eyes. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Full Tide by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Sea scents, wild rose scents, bay and barberry too, drench the wind, the Maine wind. The gulls are dipping through with soft hints, sweet hints, with lull, lure, and desire, with memory wafts and mysteries, and all the ineffable histories made when the sea and land meet, and the sun lends nuptial fire. Sea foam and dream foam, and which is which, who knows? When all day long the heart goes out to every wave that blows, that blossoms on the bright tide, then sheds a shimmering crest, and yields its tossing place to one whose blooming is as quickly done, for beauty is ever swift, begot of rapture and unrest. Sea deeps and soul deeps, and where shall faith be found, if not within the heart's beat, or in the surging sound of the sea, which is the earth's heart, beating with tireless might, beating, though but a tragedy, life seems on every land and sea, beating to bring all breath, somehow, out of despair's blight. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Herding by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Phil Schempf. Quietly, quietly in from the fields of the grey Atlantic the billows come, like sheep to the fold. Shorn by the rocks of fleecy foam, they sink on the brown seaweed at home. And a bell, like that of a bellwether, is scarcely heard from the buoy, save when they suddenly stumble together in herded hurrying joy. Upon its guidance, then soft music from it is told. Far out in the murk that follows them in is heard the call of the foghorn's voice, like a shepherd's, low. And the strays, as if waiting it seem to pause and lift their heads and listen, because it is sweet from wandering ways to be driven. When we have fearless breasts, when all that we have strayed for has been given, when no want molests us more, no need of the tide's ebbing and tide's flow. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
On the Maine Coast by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. The rocks, lean fingers of the land, reach out into the sea, and cool themselves all day long, in the tide drippingly. They catch the seaweed in them, and the starfish on their tips, and gulls that light, and the swift flight of swallows skimming grey and white, and spars of broken ships. The moon, God's perfect silver, with which He pays the world for toil and quest and day's unrest, is washed on them and swirled, and avidly they seize it, then let it slip away, only again and yet again to grasp at it, as eager men at joy no hand can stay. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Seance by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Elaine Conway. Hovering wings of terns over the rock pools flutter, for the tide, ebbed far out, seems to stumble and stutter, seems like a spirit lost, unable to come again, back to the wonted ways and days of ever-wanting men. And the moon, a medium trance pale, is laying her light over its surge, till lo, it turns from the deep and night, and the spirit word it brings is the message of all time, that doubt is only the ebb of faith, which ever reflows sublime. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Sidmouth Lad by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Elaine Conway. Salcombe Hill and 4 hills more lie to leftward of the shore. On the right Peak Hill arises, ever rises, sickening awe. 20 rotting years I've seen Sidmouth sit those hills between, only Sidmouth, and twice over must I bide it, as I've been. Then a churchyard hole for me, by the dull voice of the sea, rotting, still in Sidmouth rotting, rotting to eternity. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Widowed by Cale Young Rice. This recording for LibriVox.org by Elaine Conway. One wild gull on a wilder storm, winging to keep her lone heart warm. One wild gull by the surf, and I, beaten by wind and rain and sky. One wild gull in the offing lost, wilder heart in my bosom tossed. One wild gull, oh why but one, two, dear God, should there be, or none? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To the Sea by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Are you enraged, O sea, with the blue peace of heaven, so to uplift your armied waves, your billowy rebellion against its ease, and with Tartarian mutter from cold caves, from shuddering profundities where shapes of awe glide through entangled leagues of ooze, to hoot your watery omens evermore, and evermore your moanings interfuse with seething necromancy and mad lore? Or do you labor with the drifting bones of countless dead, O mighty alchemist, within whose stormy crucible the stones of sunk primordial shores, granite and schist, are crumbled by your all abrasive beat? With immemorial chanting to the moon, and cosmic incantation, do you crave rest to be found not till your wilds are strewn frigid and desert over earth's last grave? You seem drunk with immensity, mad, blind, with raving deaf, with wandering forlorn, parent of Demogorgon, whose dire mind is night and earthquake, shapeless shame and scorn of the o'er-mounting birth of harmony. Bound in your briny bed, and gnawing earth with foamy writhing and fierce panted tides, you are as fate in torment of a dearth of black disaster and destruction's strides. And how you shatter silence from the world, incarnate motion of all mystery, whose waves are fury wings, whose winds are hurled whither your ghosts tempestuous can see a desolate apocalypse of death. Yea, how you shatter silence from the world, with emerald overflowing, waste on waste of flashing susurration, dashed and swirled on isles and continents that shriek abased. And yet, O veering veil of the unknown, gathered from primal mist and firmament, O surging shape of life's unfathomed moan, whelming humanity with fears unmeant, yet do I love you, far above all fear, and loving you unconquerably trust the runes that from your ageless surfing start would read, were they revealed, gust upon gust, that immortality is might of heart. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sea Mad by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org. Reading by Siobhan McAlpin. Sea Mad, a Brenton maid. 3 waves of the sea came up on the wind to me. One said, "Away, he is dead. Upon my foam I have flung his head. Go back to your coat, you shall never wed, nor he." 3 waves of the sea came up on the wind to me. 2 break. The 3rd with a quake cried loud, "O maid, I'll find for thy sake his dead lost body, prepare his wake." And back it plunged to the sea. 3 waves of the sea came up on the wind to me. 1 bore, and swept on the shore. His pale, pale face I shall kiss no more. Ah, woe to women death passes o'er. Woe's me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Atheist by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org. Reading by Siobhan McAlpin. The Atheist. Over a scurf of rocks the tide wanders inward far and wide, lifting the seaweed's sloven hair, filling the pools and foaming there, sighing, sighing everywhere. Merged are the marshes, merged the sands, save the dunes with pine tree hands, stretching upward toward the sky, where the sun, their god, moves high. Would I too had a god, yeah, I. For the sea is to me but sea, and the sky but infinity. Tides and times are but some chance, born of a primal atom dance. All is a mesh of circumstance. In it there is no heart, no soul, no illimitable goal, only wild happenings by want, made into laws no might can shunt from the deep grooves in which they hunt. Wings of the gull I watch, or claws of the cold crab whose strangeness awes, faces of men that feel the force of a hid thing they call life's course. It is their hoping or remorse. Yet it may be that I have missed something that they only who tryst, not with the sequence of events, but with their viewless immanence, find and acclaim with spirit sense. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
At the Helm by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer. At the helm, Nova Scotia. Fog and a wind that blows the sea blindly into my eyes, and I know not if my soul shall be when the day dies. But if it be not, and I lose all that men live to gain, I who have known but heaving hues of wind and rain, still I shall envy no man's lot, for I have held this great, never in wines to have forgot that fate is fate. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Imperturbable by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer. 3 times the fog rolled in today, a silent shroud, from which the breakers ran like ghosts, moaning and tumbling. 3 times a startled sea-bird cried aloud, on the wind stumbling. But I cast my net with never a fear, though wraiths in me and birds of wild unrest were stirring and starting and crying. For I knew that under the sway of every sea there is calm lying. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Waste by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer. I flung a wild rose into the sea, I know not why, for swinging there on a wraith rose tree by the scented bay and barberry, its petals gave all their sweet to me as I passed by. And yet I flung it into the tide and went my way. I climbed the grey rocks far and wide, and many a cove of peace I tried, with none of them all to be satisfied the whole long day. For I had wasted a beautiful thing, which might have won each passing heart to pause and sing on the sea path there of its blossoming. And who wastes beauty shall feel want's sting, as I had done. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Resurgence by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer. I was content, O sea, to be free for a space from striving, content as the brown weed is, at rest on rocks in the sun. When the salt tide is out and the surf no more is riving at its roots, or swirling and bidding it sway where the white waves run. I was content with life and love and a little over, a little achieved of the much that is given to men to do. But now with your tidal strife do you come again, vain rover, and tell of vastitudes to be sailed or sounded anew. Now again do you surge, and the fathomless tides of thinking, of wanting, waiting, despairing, or daring with you come. The inner tides of the soul that had ebbed with slumberous shrinking, but now are bursting again through the caves of it long numb. So vainly I lie on the cliff with the blissful blue above me, and listless sated gulls afloat below on the swells, for I am soothless, sateless, because of desires that shove me out and away with the winds, on quests no distance quells. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Life's Answer by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer. A stroke of lightning stabbed the storm-black sea, as if it sought the heart of life thereunder, and meant to put an end to it utterly. Then came thunder, wildly applauding thunder. Riven with fear, the foam crests ran before it, hissed by the rain and beaten down to darkness. A gull rose out of the murk with wings that tore it. Life's answer to the storm's terrible starkness. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
As the Tide Comes In by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Schempf. The quivering terns dart wild and dive as the tide comes tumbling in. The calm rock pools grow all alive with the tide tumbling in. The crab who under the brown weed creeps, and the snail who lies in his house and sleeps, awake and stir as the plunging sweeps of the tide come tumbling in. Gray driftwood swishes along the sand as the tide comes tumbling in, with wreck and wrack from many a land on the tide tumbling in. About the beach are a broken spar, a pale anemone's torn sea star, and scattered scum of the waves' old war as the tide tumbles in. And oh, there is a stir at the heart of me as the tide comes tumbling in. All life once more is a part of me as the tide tumbles in. New hopes awaken beneath despair, and thoughts slip free of the sloth of care, while beauty and love are everywhere, as the tide comes tumbling in. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Scent Sweetness by Cale Young Rice. This recording for LibriVox.org by Elaine Conway. Flowers are dancing, waves playing, pines swaying. Girls are a swarm, sea and heather, sunning together, glad the weather, with God are warm. Flowers dancing, clouds winging, larks singing, summer a brew, summer the old ecstatic passion of life to fashion the world anew. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Tidals by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer. Low along the sea, low along the sea, the grey gulls are flying, and one sail swings. The tide is foaming in, the soft wind is sighing. The brown kelp is stretching to the surf harp strings. Low along the sea, low along the sea, the grey gulls are flying, and one sail fades. The tide is foaming out, the soft wind dying, and white stars are peeping from the night's pale shades. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Sailor's Wife by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by April 6090, California, United States of America. Into port when the sun was setting, rode the ship that bore my love, over the breakers wildly fretting, under the skies above. Down to the beach I ran to meet him. He would come as he had said, and he came, in a sailor's coffin, dead. Oh, the ships of the sea, the lovers torn by them apart. The tide has nothing now to tell me. The breakers break my heart. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To Sea by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Anusha Iyer. Give me the tiller, up with the sail. Now let her swing to the breeze. Out to sea with a dripping rail, to sea with a heart at ease. Out of the harbour, out of the bay, out by the valiant light. Out by the rocks where the young gulls lay, and glad winds teach them flight. Out of the harbour, out of the bay, out to the open sea. Oh, there's not in the world a way to feel so wildly free. So let her quiver, so let her leap, so let her dance the foam. All life else is a narrow keep, the sea alone is home. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Give Over, O Sea by Cale Young Rice. This recording for LibriVox.org by Elaine Conway. Give over, O sea! You never shall reach Nirvana. Your tides, like the tidal generations, ever shall rise and fall, and your infinite waves find birth, rebirth, and billowy dissolution. The years of your existence are unending. The years of your unresting are forever. The sun, who is desire, ever begets in you his passion, and the moon is ever drawing you, with silvery soft alluring, to surge and sway, to wander and fret, to waste yourself in foam, so but a calm shall never descend upon you. And though it may seem often you have found the way, your tempest sins return. and quicken to world reincarnations, and gain great life, pulsing and perilous, omnipotent life that ever resurges through the universe, lashes you back to striving, back to yearning, back to speech, to utterance on all shores of the world of things unutterable. Give over then, you never shall reach Nirvana, nor I, who am your acolyte for a moment, who swing a censer of fragrant words before your priestly feet, that tread these altar rocks, bedraped with weeds, gently afloat, and with the wild flutter of gulls, wildly mysterious. Give over and call your winds again to join you, O chanter of deep enchantments, of uncharted litanies, call them and bid them say with you that life transcends retreat, and that in the temple of its immanence there is no peace that does not spring daily from peacelessness, and no nirvana save in the lee of storm. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Nun by Cale Young Rice. Recorded for LibriVox.org by Elaine Conway. A lone palm leans in the moonlight over a convent wall. The sea below is waking and breaking with a calm heave and fall. A young nun sits at a window. For heaven she is too fair, yet even the dove of God might nest in her bosom beating there. A lone ship sails from the harbour. Whom does it bear away? Her lover who, sin-hearted, has parted and left her but to pray? She has no lover, nor ever has heard afar love's sigh. Only the convent's vesper vow has ever dimmed her eye. For naught knows she of her beauty, more than the palm of its peace, and none shall cross her portals to mortal desires to bend her knees. The ways of the world have flowers, and any who will pluck those, but in his hand, against all harm, God still will keep some rose. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Last Sight of Land by Cale Young Rice. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. The clouds in woe hang far and dim, and look again, and lo, only a faint and shadow line of shore. I watch it go. The gulls have left the ship and wheel back to the cliff's grey wraith. Will it be so of all our thoughts when we set sail on death? And what will the last sight be of life, as lone we fare and fast? Grief and a face we love in mist, then night and awe too vast? Or the dear light of hope, like that, O sea, from the lost shore, kindling and calling, onward you shall reach for evermore? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. End of Sea Poems by Cale Young Rice.